Hello everyone, and welcome back to Journey Beyond the Abyss. And it will be the journey to the moon. Because after lots of trials and tribulations, mostly with those things not fueling the spaceship, I am done. And let's go to the moon! Computer, start takeoff sequence. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Actually, you know what? This sounds all fucking dangerous. I know a few people who could do that for me, and I think I know how to bribe them, so I'm going to let them do that. Shall we? Hello, my name is Fox, and I have a contract proposition for you. Yeah. Yeah, that's within my budget. I can send you the specifics. Sure, sounds great. Bye.
Słownie pan se skof zmienną mas śmiesznych goń, taki myślę, że są zirmos. Bardzo śmieszne. Hütne nymst. Pues hewne so üstnen skarmos elkne. Nymst ma oj pistsnowi. Nu självne är musik. Die själv så helse fra Arabisk bergs. Hur stecken i range was Beschuldigung, skapsnäsigt, södnäs fet, nej. Externet, utan, filer, norre, skorre, skoff, slägne.
Hello and welcome to Kerbal Space Program. I had the idea of using Kerbal Space Program to do this part of the quest book ever since I read about it. I had hoped that it would fall on April Fool's Day, but it didn't. Well, late October is fine as well, if I can calculate right when this video will come out. My Kerbal skills obviously have become quite rusty. I haven't played in years, and this is just some random version 1.0 that I had lying around. But I was quite pleased to get this horrible mess of an unstable rocket this far up in the atmosphere, but here we came to problems. This is top heavy, and it immediately tried to do backflips, which it wanted to do later on. The atmosphere here helped to keep the whole thing stable-ish, but as soon as it went above the atmosphere, the gimbaling wasn't enough to keep it anywhere near stable, as you can see here. But I persevered, and I got a very, very bad transfer to the moon, which locked me in a polar orbit, which meant I perfectly managed to get into a sun-synchronous orbit, so all the landing spots that I had available were in the dark. And it was so close to the moon that I couldn't really get a good sight. The first landing then was like this. because I read the wrong number out of the Kerbal Engineer readout. Second landing was much smoother. I didn't try to use the upper stage, even though it was still quarter full, and I just used the landing stage, which is really stable, has lots of delta V, no problem. Landing this thing was absolutely fine, even in the dark, as I brought some light. So, no problem. I then erected a flag, took the sample, wrote some funny things on the flag, and was contemplating the bad footage that I was getting because everything was just black and dark. But I was quite happy with myself having managed this despite the bad circumstances. And yeah, then it was time to go home. And that was not too big of a problem at first because there was plenty of delta V within the rocket. The problem was Jebediah's head. He was too big and just struck out slightly outside of the heat shield, and sadly he exploded on the way down. I experimented a bit further, and this was... I couldn't engineer my way around this, so I took a day off and then I redesigned the whole thing, which you see right here. That said, I really forgot how enjoyable it was to build things in Kerbal Space Program. The amount of options you have with just a few mods like rescaling and such. This was really fun, even though it took a while, mostly because of my brain problems. But yeah, it was fun figuring this stuff out again and just building something that looked good, with all the little bits and bobs and things. And I remembered enough to know in general what to do. And yeah, choosing which parts to go on the whole thing. This is the first construction I didn't record my fix because eagle-eyed viewers will notice that I put in the wrong upper stage engine. It's the one that takes monopropellant and not bipropellant. And so my first attempt at this just didn't have a second stage. Then I fixed that problem, and this beautiful, horrible bobsledish thingy of a rocket with 2 feet C's took off. And yeah, struts are important. I tried it without struts and it was a wobbly mess that just did things that I didn't want it to do. But I'm quite proud of getting this thing to look this good and to get it to work. And while we zoom in on Jebediah Kerman looking, well, with anticipation, I'll start this second journey to the Min. And it worked mostly flawless. The near missile design, well, rocket design was much more stable. It behaved very well in the atmosphere, even though I was a bit fast and things got a bit hot around Jebediah, but no big problem. This soon went and I was pretty much perfectly equatorial around Carbon. There was no offset center of mass, so the thing didn't want to buck, and I had a perfect vector to just burn towards the moon, and I got a perfectly equatorial encounter. It wasn't a free return trajectory, but I didn't need that. Then some beauty shots of me of Jebediah just flying off towards the moon, letting this blue marble behind him, contemplating about the fickleness of life and all such things that you think about when you see an Earth-like planet slowly disappearing into the distance. But then it was time to actually plan the moon encounter maneuver and get into an orbit. This time there would not be the problem of having a dark landing site, at least if I managed my landing spot right. But with the amount of fuel and subsequent delta V that I have in this upper stage, that was absolutely no problem. And then I could just pick my landing site, and I decided I want to land in the big crater in the Midlands, because they would be scenic and they would give an interesting place to start from with the crater walls and such. And look how happy Jebediah is, sitting there above the moon and slowly rotating because I pressed the wrong buttons. But yeah, landing not really hard. I could have landed the whole thing just with the upper stage, but I felt like that was not that cool, so I took away most of the velocity, then ditched the upper stage. It exploded as expected, and I could very simply touch down with almost all of my fuel left over, so absolutely no problem there. At least as soon as I remembered to switch off the stability control. Then the rest was rather easy, just getting Jebediah off his ship and planting a flag, doing a bit of a shuffle, and taking a soil sample. Look how happy he looks. He's on the moon. He hasn't been there for years, at least not in my save games. And yes, the best flag, the experimental engineering. I don't know, I always take this because I like the pun. Yes, then there is of course some silliness writing on the flag, because lore and such, and well, I didn't know it at the time how much time I would invest for just this gag with doing the credible voices and doing the Zoom phone call and whatnot. It was fun, however. So apparently what I cut out was that, well, it's not a good start, this, but I had to do the same maneuver to get Jebediah inside the seat, because he couldn't jump high enough. But yeah, the stability assist controls are just overpowered, and I can just do a whatever this is called on the moon with the rocket, just bouncing about, no problem. This is so silly. Yeah, robot gymnastics, landed gymnastics, right? Who doesn't do it? Y'all should do this. It's sports. It's good for you. Anyway, starting was not a big problem. Then I remembered, oh, canyon walls. Well, turns out they were not a big problem. I had so much Delta V. Getting home also was absolutely no problem whatsoever. I had more than enough Delta V. I probably could have just flown out to Minmus as well. And I did have enough snacks for all of this. Because I have just some random selection of mod packs, there were life support in there and stuff, and I forgot how to switch that off. So Jebediah has just on his feet a big tin of snacks. Then I did have some stability problems that I don't know why. Should have been perfectly stable, but well, why not just waste 80% of my fuel on some, I don't know what that was. But yeah, there we return to carbon. It's not a big problem. We dip into the atmosphere at about 25 kilometers pre-calculated, and this time, instead of the dinky little heat shield, I have the big heat shield, the inflating one. And as soon as I pack away this antenna, I can unfurl it. I also forgot that I had action groups set up, but well, I forget everything at the moment still. And yes, this heat shield was definitely big enough to protect Jebediah's big, wonderful, cute head. And there we are, screaming through the atmosphere at about 2 kilometers per second, steadily dropping. Now we are at 1 kilometer and then we're down. And then I had the bright idea to use the stability assist to get a little bit of a rotation going. And it made me nauseous just watching it all unfurl, but also made me totally giggle. And there we go. And I thought, yeah, that was it with the rotation, but nope. Jebediah's head had one last trick up its sleeve. Well, the whole thing is terribly unstable, and of course it had a rotation. But with the parachute deployed, that died down. I got it to a perfect landing, didn't even hit a single cactus. So I could remove his helmet, I could remove his helmet ring, and I'm pretty sure I had some idea what to do, have some silliness to talk about, but well, then I hoped I get some end of mission screen, but this is sandbox mode, and there you don't get real end of mission screen as long as nothing breaks, and nothing broke, so well, that was it. Now let's get back to Minecraft.
Oops.
Okay, I'm sorry. I needed to do this joke with Kerbal Space Program. Ever since I knew that going to the moon was an option, I knew that I wanted to make an in-video joke with Kerbal Space Program. Yet, what you see now is a dramatic reenactment of my actual first moon flight, because, haha, joke, I pushed the wrong button when I flew up and didn't record. Which is great, but this time I'm better prepared. I did not die on my way to the moon. I do have the quests. Come on. Fires of Industry. So, yes, I got to the moon. Let's go again. So, do I have everything? Yes. My last journey to the moon, I did have a few issues. Mostly, I went there in the dark and I nearly froze to death because, of course, my spacesuit does not shield me against the vigors of space, like cold. So, excuse me for being not that enthusiastic about the whole thing. But I do have to say, it's really cool. I never used advanced rocketry mod, and after overcoming the problem that my rocket just didn't want to fuel, which I got working by disassembling and reassembling the rocket, then it would fuel, and it's somewhat janky and glitchy. It's nice. We have a nice ascent, our velocity is high, the fuel goes down, we have an altitude meter, we are leaving slowly leaving the atmosphere, which is really cool, not gonna lie. Going to the vacuum of space. Seeing the blue marble slowly disappearing behind us. There's still a little bit. There's the base and the Alchemist's Island. Everything else is just blue haze. And I do love spaceflight. It's a human dream come true. Yes, please descend. Thank you. Do not leave the rocket. So we descend on the moon, and it's night. But this time, I'm prepared, I hope, with this thing. Let's hope it works on the moon. So I can make it day on the moon, because it's really dark. And thankfully I landed right next to a beehive, because of course there are beehives on the moon, why not? And that gave me enough light, and I could just make out the position of my spaceship by the blotted out stars and the aurora borealis, which the moon doesn't have, but who cares? Yeah, but this time I brought different types of lighting, and let's see if the amulet of skull works on the moon. So that actually something is to be seen. And yes, I am recording. I doubled and now triple checked that before recording again. Failing at this twice would be kind of hilarious, kind of very stupid. I'm already freezing to death. Amazing. Like, really. It's a spacesuit. It should prevent me from freezing to death in space. At least for a while. Yes, please land. I can't do anything while in the rocket. Can't use GUI elements. Land, please. Okay. Does it work here? It does not. Great. But this works. Beautiful. I landed on in a different space. Okay. Cool. So, that's... Okay, at least that thing works. Beautiful. Beautiful. Bringing tinder was the right. This does not work. Beautiful. So this time there are no... Oh well, there are some about. Good. Whoa. Holy frick. Oh! Yeah, this is where I was last time. Let's see what kind of bees there are. Maybe. If Blockleg would allow me. Well, let's do it again, I guess. There we go. Give me the bees. Wintry bees. Okay. I was afraid they were, but who knows? Is there anything interesting on the moon? I somewhat doubt it. And I don't have any more light. Well, I can do this. No, I can't. Well, let's get a few of those because there's some ores. No. Game, please. There are some ores. What kind of ore are you? Copper ore. Well, color me underwhelmed. Bauxite ore. Give me my lamp. Thank you. Okay, the glue is very much here. Yeah. Go away. So let's... This warp effect is really annoying. Let's go and explore a bit. I'll see what kind of geology we get here. There is some blue ore. What are you? It is a lot. And it is apatite ore. Doesn't really make sense because that would need water to form, but who cares? Are you something interesting or are you gold? No, you're also copper. Okay. And that's why I have a bag with me. Okay. So there is appetite down here. God damn it. Really nothing special. Yeah. To be honest, I'm not the biggest fan that everything is dark here. The moon does have days. There is sunlight on the moon. Well... So, this is the moon. Not too interesting. I do have moon turf. I'm going to warm up. And then I'm going to fly back. Because the moon is shit. Well, or rather, very, very boring. Can I warm up some more? Or is it all that I get? Well, that's all that I get, I guess. So, G, destination, overworld, select. Goodbye, moon. Our stay was short. The second day stay was longer. But both were uneventful and rather boring. Well, thanks for the wintry bees, I guess. And you can have those. Let's lift off back home. In our janky, rusting, hobbling rocket. Goodbye, moon. I guess I'll speed this up in post, because I have nothing to say. Well, I do have that to say. I'm underwhelmed by the moon. But we do have moon turf. We need it for space station assembler, and we need to build the ether portal, which I will do next. And then I will down the ether portal and travel through it for the other last quest, which probably gets the story going. Yes. Oh, come on. So let's descend. We must descend in janky, rusty motion. And I'm freezing to death. Totally. Again, because my spacesuit does not save me from being cold in space. It makes it a terrible spacesuit. Oh well. would have been too easy, I guess. It is, however, a good thing that the launch pad coordinates are just hardwired in the rocket when you build it. So, prepare for final descent. Or not, yes, thank you. This is amazing. I mean, seriously. A spacesuit should give you safety from hypothermia. Oh well, there we are. We are descending through the clouds, through our pollution. And I have put down tinder right in front of the landing pad, which was more for done because I was waiting for... No, not... Come on. Yeah, also this happens. You are glitched and you're very, very slowly moving, and there we are. Back on the planet. Some shit loot with heart, and now it's time to get all my stuff back. The moon was a mistake. See you next time, everyone. Goodbye.